My mom left me out of her will. 6 months later, her lawyer knocked on my door. When my mother passed away, I wasn't prepared for the grief, but I definitely wasn't prepared for what happened at the reading of her will. My older brother Adam inherited the family house. My younger sister received mom's investment accounts. Even my cousins were left small cash gifts. When the attorney reached the last page, he looked at me with an apologetic expression and said, "There are no assets being left directly to you." The room went completely silent. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I simply thanked the attorney and walked out. On the drive home, I kept wondering what I'd done wrong. I was the child who visited mom every weekend after dad died. I drove her to doctor's appointments, fixed things around her house, and called her almost every evening just to make sure she was okay. My siblings lived in different states and rarely visited, yet somehow I was the only one who'd been left with nothing. Over the next few months, the rumors started. Some relatives assumed mom and I must have had a secret falling out. Others whispered that maybe she'd discovered I'd stolen money from her. Nobody asked me directly, but I could feel the judgment every time I attended a family gathering. Adam and my sister never defended me. They simply accepted their inheritances and moved on. I told myself that money wasn't worth destroying what little family I had left, so I stayed quiet. About 6 months later, someone knocked on my front door on a rainy Saturday morning. It was mom's attorney. He asked if he could come inside because there was something he'd been instructed to give me, but only after 6 months had passed. I honestly thought he had the wrong address. He didn't. He handed me a sealed envelope with my mother's handwriting on the front. Inside was a letter. Mom explained that she knew exactly how the will would look to everyone else, and she was sorry for the pain it would cause me. Then she revealed something I never saw coming. 2 years before she died, she'd been diagnosed with the early stages of dementia. Her biggest fear wasn't losing her memory. It was losing control over who she could trust. Mom wrote that after her diagnosis, she'd quietly asked each of her children for help at different times. Adam always claimed he was too busy. My sister rarely returned her calls. I was the only one who consistently showed up without expecting anything in return. The will wasn't the real test. It was the distraction. The attorney placed another folder on my coffee table. Inside were documents for a family trust I'd never heard of. Years before dad passed away, my parents had purchased several acres of farmland through a separate trust that wasn't listed in the public estate. The land had been leased for decades, and during that time, it had quietly increased in value far beyond the family home. Mom had intentionally kept it separate from the will. According to the trust documents, I was the sole beneficiary. The reason for the 6-month delay was even more surprising. Mom wanted to see how the family treated me after believing I'd received nothing. If my siblings reached out, supported me, and stayed close despite thinking I'd been left out, the attorney had instructions to divide part of the trust equally between all 3 of us. If they didn't, everything stayed with me. Over the next 6 months, Adam never called once. My sister only contacted me to ask if I'd be willing to help pay for repairs to the house she'd inherited with him. Neither of them ever asked how I was doing. The attorney documented every interaction because mom had specifically requested updates. Before releasing the trust, at the end of the waiting period, he looked at me and quietly said, "Your mother believed character is revealed when people think there's nothing left to gain." She was right. The trust remained exactly as she'd written it. A few weeks later, Adam found out about it through a tax filing. He called me for the first time in almost a year. He accused me of manipulating mom, hiding assets, and turning her against the family. I didn't argue. I simply mailed him a copy of mom's letter. He never called again. Today, I still own that farmland. Part of it has been converted into a small nature preserve because mom always dreamed of protecting it instead of selling it to developers. Every spring, I walk those fields and think about the lesson she left behind. An inheritance doesn't always reveal what a parent thought about their children. Sometimes, it reveals what the children thought about each other. Would you have shared the trust with your siblings after everything that happened? Yes or no?